Matter of fact, mine just went up to $65 for my garbage pickup, and the rest of us pay for garbage, our garbage to be picked up. But yet and still, every year we take out a bond that the residents have to pay back with interest. And it's like we paying a double bill, just like the water bill. And I will hope in the future that be rectified, because it's not fair to the residents that we pay double for that. And I will hope to see that the money that we do pay out be put into a separate account, just like the water bill money, so we don't have this problem with wondering whether or not our garbage is gonna be picked up, or we, because I know they're taking that money and putting it into the general fund, and, and Keith Freeman and the rest of them are spending the money, and the mayor is spending the money however they want to spend it. And that's not fair to us, because we're paying the bill. Now, part two of that question is, the forfeit money, the paid vendors, because that should have been in the budget. And I know you all didn't have anything to do with that. That was Tiffany and them spending the money however they saw fit. Yeah, for the motor fuel tax. Yeah, I know they was taking the money and spending it however they want to spend it. And we residents shouldn't have to pay for that. So.
I will comment on for the garbage pickup. We're in agreement. We do want to get rid of that in the totality. I will say that as a board over the last few years, our goal was to gradually reduce it. When we came in, we started at 1.3 million. We dropped it 150,000 one year, and I believe it was 200 the following year. So we have gotten it down from 1.3 to 900,000 and the intention would be to continue lowering it. We were faced with a kind of tough challenges while we determined we want to keep it at the same level, use what we had last year, because simultaneously we are getting calls from vendors out of the blue. So we know we're in a bad spot. We have not gotten the financials since September of last year. So we're kind of trying to do some best guesswork, given the limited amount of information. Also, you mentioned the funds due. This ordinance also establishes an escrow account. And quite honestly, it's the only way that Homewood would accept it, is making sure that the levy or the property tax levy goes directly into an escrow account to be paid directly to them, so that we don't have that risk of mismanagement of those funds.
Okay, thank you.
Good evening, everyone. Happy belated Mother's Day to those that are mothers and mothers of children that aren't yours. To the board, Pro Tem Mayor Jason House, I don't know which way the vibe goes, but trustees of the board and Clerk Keys. My question is, and maybe you can answer, maybe not. Okay, you just passed an ordinance for Mayor Tiffany Henry because of lack of coming to meetings. What do we do with two trustees that does the same thing? Because it's obvious they're not servicing us, but yet I'm sure they're still getting paid for meetings not attended. So how do we rectify them doing that, or is there something that they can be held accountable for? Because to me, I think it's fraud when you're getting paid for something that you're not actually doing. That's my opinion, you know. So I don't normally get up here and say anything. I listen a lot, but at the same time, my concern is our taxes, because at the end of the day, that's going to affect all of our taxes. whether you're renting, those that rent don't believe that it affects them, but it affects them because it affects their landlords. Landlords have to pay taxes on their property, so therefore they're going to raise the rent up for the, constituents that's here. So I don't know if that's something that you can answer. Is there something that can be done? I'm not sure if we can remove them, but I think I asked questions before. If they miss so many meetings, is there something in the ordinance that can replace them, have them moved? But I think you said that becomes an appointment. And I think we probably do better leaving things as is versus getting another appointment, because we don't know what we're getting. We know what we're getting. If they don't come, that's fine. But if we get something else, it might be worse. Thank you.
These neighbors and our public officials. I said basically a couple of questions, and they alluded to a couple of them. I'm thinking like this. Okay, even though you may not want to remove these incompetent, unnecessary, and worthless individuals, is that too harsh? I'm sorry. Can it be removed from the payroll without actually firing them? Or possibly is there a way to have, you can have a mayor pro tem, can we have some trustees pro tem? Okay, so there's no way to do that. Okay, well, how about, since we have no access to our city hall, which I have talked about incessantly, is there a way that we can withhold part of our taxes until we get back our own facilities that we're paying for? We pay for this stuff every time they tell us to go to hell. Okay? There has to be some way to get their attention. And my thing is, like people like Freeman, who should have, he should be running a taco stand, as it is, and we all know this. Okay? And we also know that if you all get rid of him, she's going to come right back and put him back. My thing is to make her do it. Make her do it. Make her explain to somebody somewhere, not now, she can explain it to the alphabet boys, the FBI, and all the rest of the people, why she kept putting this incompetent, corrupt individual over our tax money. Okay? There is no way someone like that should have that much power over us. We're paying these people. And it's like we're paying for them to abuse us. And at some point, we have to make a strong stand in some way. I know some people accuse me of trying to get us thrown in jail. I don't see why we have a choice at some point. We have to do something, put her on the record every single time, and make her explain it down the road, because she has to know, even as harebrained as she is, that at some point someone is going to make her explain some of this stuff. So I'm just saying, put some things on the agenda, even though we know she's going to do what she's going to do. But I think we need it on, I think we need it on the public record. That's just me. I think we need to see it on the public record, makes the paper trail longer, and that's more explaining that she has to do, and she may have to finish explaining in an orange jumpsuit. That's all I'm saying. Thank you.
Can you hear me? Yes. Okay, my name is Rosie Buff. I've been a resident for approximately 30 years. I have a few comments, maybe three. I agree with Dan. This administration is incompetent. They're unable to solve problems. Smart people know how to get together, communicate, and solve problems. Not this administration. She is a dictator. I'm going to list some things that you already know, but I just wanted to go on record that we know what she is doing, and it will be stopped. I wish she would stop with the gaslighting and her propaganda videos. I don't want to see another video ever. And I'm sure many of you feel the same way. It's a waste of our time, and our time is valuable, and so is our tax money. I Googled what is a good mayor, and I forgot to bring the list to you. But I can tell you not one thing on that list applies to, you know, the problem with our community, with, you know, who, is that she doesn't know how to obey the laws. She does exactly what she wants to do. It is already in our ordinances that there shall be transparency. Receipts and documents should be turned over to the people, trustees. I can stand here and bring up the bad things that she's doing, but I will not do that. I only pray that God will help us out and stop this mess. Thank you very much.
Good evening, residents.
Good evening.
Good evening, Board of Trustees, Mayor Pro Tem, Clerk. I'm here I'm Cleo Jones, President of Dolton Park District Board of Commissioners, and we have Commissioner Harris in the back and also Commissioner Wells. I just want to thank the Board of Trustees for their diligent job in helping us move the projects of the park along. We were stuck in a hurdle, not getting the permits to get the parks for the kids and for the residents of Dolton completed. So we have crossed those hurdles. So now we have, in this very park here, one of the parks has been completed, new playground in, the launch is in. If you guys get an opportunity, stop over and see it. Also, the park on 154th Street is completed as well. We're moving along. We have our major project, which Trustee Belcher mentioned that it's going to happen towards the end of June. That is a major park, which is Blackstone Park. That's right off the expressway. That is going to get a major overhaul. So those permits, on behalf of the trustees who help us cross that hurdle, we appreciate them and all they have done to get this process, to get this thing moving. So now the parks of our community is going to get the necessary upgrade. So the mayor, she shoots at the park very often. You guys hear her stating about sliding doors with holes in them, or how do plastic sliding doors get holes in them. The vandalism that's going on in the park. How does vandalism happen in parks? But when you see something, you must say something. She's the mayor of this town. Instead of her reporting in her report like that, get the police to do something about it. Get the police to monitor the parks. We have security. But our security only goes so far. So instead of her speaking about those things, let's do something about those things. You know, anyone can sit up in a board meeting and sit behind a podium or a desk to say these kind of things, but this is your town. You said that you are for the kids. Let's start doing something for the kids. Help us instead of talking about us. Thank you very much. Have a good night.
Good evening. My question is, isn't there something in the bylaws that that covers how many meetings that Andrew Holmes can miss without him putting it in writing? There's nothing in the bylaws.
There is a requirement that you be present and available. There's not a specific number of meetings missed. So it can be pursued or pressed through court, but that will take court action. It could cost taxpayers money, and then it's ultimately up to the court system on what that would how many to determine if meetings have been effective or absent.
So couldn't the trustees have a special meeting to change the bylaws?
Well, it's actually a state statute, so it's not with the bylaws that's determined by the state.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Good evening. I think you halfway answered that question. Is there an ordinance going forward that you could do? Because we can't do anything about the meetings that have been missed. But what about going forward? Is there an ordinance or some way that we could start looking at putting something on the books that X number of meetings missed? I'm asking.
Oh, yes, no, and we have discussed that with our attorney, so I will have to give an update on what, if the ordinance, because with it being a state statute, an ordinance cannot supersede the state statute, but if we could put an ordinance in that supplements the statute, that's part of the research.
Okay, and I say so that if you do get it and it doesn't affect your salary, knock this down to $2.99. Okay, don't that sound good?
$2.99.
That's about how much work they do. Okay, but no, all jokes aside, I wanted to bring up, some of you, I'm sure, were at the tea on Saturday, and Trustee Belcher invited the architect for the building at 150. And I honestly believe he was a plant or a fraud. And I say that because I reached out to him some hours ago with the phone number that he gave me. No company name, just his name and an email and a phone number. It sounds like he went to a personal phone. I asked for the name of his company and his licensing number with the state, because we have researched and searched and had people look. He's not listed anywhere. I also reached out and spoke to Mr. Davis, the engineer that did the inspection, who put that stop order in place. So she ain't lying, I ain't lying, he ain't lying. There was no permit and not one brick should have been moved until a permit was on that building. And I got that from him. So if anybody want to see me by what I got to say, I'm gonna be here in case we got some plants in the road. I back up everything I say. What do we do to put a stop order on that work? Because they were working today and they've been working ever since that came out. And he says he should be paid by the village because he was hired, unfortunately, by Keith Freeman. So that's our bill. And if that's our bill, and he says, stop the work, then the work needs to be stopped. I'm waiting.
Oh, yeah, I'll ask more to chime in. I would agree he should stop. I mean, from the board standpoint, we would have to notify the code enforcement as well as, code enforcement as well as the police.
I did. Push the button there.
Yeah, we would have to notify code enforcement and the police for enforcement and stay on top of them. So,
That's yours. That ain't mine.
yeah, no, we would have to stay on top of the police and code enforcement to.
Well, we know code enforcement ain't gonna do nothing, and the police either.
Yeah, and that's really the
Can we
dilemma that
get,
the board is in.
can we get the state or something, because God forbid, they're planning a grand opening. They want y'all to walk through, I'm not walking through. And if something happened, do we even have that insurance that I mentioned? Do we even know what we got other than we got a building? I'm concerned because if somebody gets hurt, if y'all think we hurting now, let somebody get hurt up there. This gonna be Maryville or whatever their name is. You know, but we got to figure out, we got to do something. Oh, now you want me to play with it again? Okay. All right. We got to figure out how to do something. You know, originally, it was protest. Well, I ain't for a whole lot of marching, I got a bad knee. But we got to do something because we're getting too many answers. It's this, it's that, I gave you this, I gave you that. Nothing seems to be real. Did OSHA come out? I was told that OSHA has to be called by either the person is over it, you
Right.
know,
Or a worker. OSHA doesn't come out,
just a Joe citizen.
right, this has to be a worker calls in or the contractor calls in and say that facility is unsafe. I spoke to OSHA, so no, they gave me a number to the US government to call, USA.gov to call. But OSHA doesn't deal with it. It has to be a worker call that they say that this facility is unsafe, I work here, or the contractor has to say that these grounds are unsafe. But OSHA cannot do anything.
Now, I understand you guys are working really, really hard, and we keep pressing them to do something, and I don't know what we can do, but somebody's got to get together and find out how we start combating this. Because just sitting here, as the lady said Saturday, talking about it, we'll be back here next month, talking about it again, and the building will still be there until it's full. I'm against the building, I told the owner that, but the building is there. I got to deal with it, but it needs to be done right, decent and in order, because we don't want to be on the news for one of these catastrophes. And if he is the architect and sits here and says there's nothing wrong, and the engineer that inspected it says there is, who we gonna believe? Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay, seeing no additional citizens address, I'll ask for a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Is there a second? Hearing a motion is second, clerk, can you please roll call?
Trustee Norwood,
Aye.
trustee Tammy Brown,
Aye.
trustee House,
Aye.
trustee Belcher.
Aye.
Meeting adjourned at 7:22 p.m.
Oh my God.
All right.